We're honored and flattered to be joined today by Assistant Sheriff of Ventura County, Shane Matthews.
Let me tell you a little bit about Shane before we get started. Shane is the Assistant Sheriff in Ventura County, and he is over the areas of Ojai and Camarillo. Do you have both of them, or individually?
I run Detention Services now. So,
oh,
yeah.
Boy, am I late with the news. Okay, and you started there. Mm-hmm. Sean was 31 years with the Sheriff's Department in Ventura, surpassed only by 32 years of marriage and 3 children, correct?
Yeah. I'll clarify, it's to the same person. Same person for 32 years.
Sean got his degree in criminal justice from California Coast University, and he started his career where he is now. Are you at the farm?
No, farm's closed.
Oh, when I saw this is great. You know, coming from law enforcement and knowing a little bit about detention services, I'm always very appreciative of these places. But Ventura apparently had farm detention service in the beginning, which is not a bad idea. LA County and the State Department of Corrections used to have a farm in Riverside, very effective, getting people out of the ghetto, onto some place where they get some sunshine and see and actually do a little work is not a bad idea. From there he went to patrol. Sean has worked SWAT, he worked Detective Bureau, he was in Special Services, he was a narc, worked at the Narcotics area in the Sheriff's Department, then moved on to Aviation Unit, and then handled, along with that, search and rescue. I now introduce you, and I'm very proud to introduce Sean Matthews.
Thank you for having me. Felix promised me there would be like 300 people here, so.
Almost there.
We're almost there, no. Thank you for having me. My name's Shane Matthews, and I'm still with the Sheriff's Office, so I've been there for 31 years. I started in 1995, and I still have probably at least 3 years to go. We'll see what the current Sheriff, Jim Freihoff, says about that. I'm appointed so he can fire me at any time, so if I mess it up, then I'm probably going to be on the streets. I'll just give you a little background about myself, and then I was going to offer you some thoughts on shooting and concealed carry and open carry and that kind of thing, and then I was just going to let you ask questions. I'm kind of winging it. I didn't really want to come with an agenda because I know that a lot of times the topics that are important, 4 weeks ago might not be the topics that are important today, and so we can dive into whatever. So I'll start with saying I never wanted to be a cop. That was not on the radar for me. And my dad worked for the Ventura County Sheriff's Office for 34 years. So, growing up, he was deputy sheriff, and he ran search and rescue my whole career. So back then, you could stay in one job for your entire career, and that's what he did. So I was always around, being up in the mountains and doing search and rescue stuff. They had like old Huey helicopters at the time. But that just wasn't an appeal to me. My grandpa worked for the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office, so he was a detective in Victorville when there was like 4 people there. And that's actually where my dad grew up. And he joined the military, and then when they got out of the military, he relocated to Ventura. And so that's kind of how I ended up in Ventura. And I remember him saying in like I got married in 93, and like 94 he said, "Hey, the Sheriff's Office is hiring. I think maybe you should consider it." And I was like, nah, I don't know. I'm not sure. So I tried a couple other types of work, and nothing was really sticking. And so I thought, I'll give it a shot. So I applied for the Sheriff's Office. I got hired. January of 95, I went to the academy. And I remember the first week of the academy, I'm getting yelled at, and I'm doing push-ups, and I'm thinking, I don't even want to be here. What is going on? And they were just really mean. Which ironically, I find out later that they're not actually that mean. They all became my friends, but they were training me. They were inoculating me with stress and putting the pressure on to see how I would respond. And so that was kind of the whole game plan for the academy is inoculation training, right?
Welcome to the Marines.
Welcome to the Marines, right? It's not done without purpose. So I remember going home the first weekend and thinking, these people are, I hate these people. I don't even want to go back on Monday. So talked to my wife and just decided, you know, I'm here for a reason. I'm Christian, so you know, I just had prayed about it, got it, opened some doors, and I thought, you know what, I'm staying. You can fire me, but I'm not going to quit. And once I made that decision, once mentally I had made that switch, it was easy, no problem. And I never looked back, and that was it. So the unique thing about our agency is that you can't stay in your one job for your entire career. You have to move around. So unlike my dad, who did 26 years just doing search and rescue, I'm not allowed to do that, and neither are the deputies that work for me. So like he was saying, I went to the honor farm. It was like a legit farm with pigs and cows, and we had inmate workers, and we ran a farm, and we did slaughtering. We slaughtered the pigs and cows for food for the inmates. It's pretty incredible. We had a carpentry crew, we had a welding crew, we had a cement crew, and they did construction projects around the county. I mean, it was teaching people skills. It was really quite the place. And in about 2003, the sheriff back then, Bob Brooks, and the board of supervisors, they were having some budget issues, and they ended up closing down the farm, and that was the end of the honor farm. So I missed that place. It was pretty neat. Currently, so I'll back up. So I went to patrol in Ojai, did my field training in Ojai, but then ultimately I worked patrol in Camarillo for a period of time. I did gang enforcement in Camarillo. I ended up working in Thousand Oaks patrol. I've worked narcotics, so I think you mentioned narcotics. If you guys see, Joaquin Diaz is one of the range masters here today. I think he's going to be with you. Joaquin was my boss, so he did 32 years with the sheriff's office, and he is an excellent person. But I did some narcotics, and then the best job I ever had was honestly search and rescue. I kind of fell into what my dad had brought me up on, and I did 8 years total, 6 years full-time on the rescue helicopter. The unique thing about Ventura County is the sheriff's office is the only agency that has aviation resources in the county. So if you call for a helicopter, the sheriff's office is coming. It's changed a little now. The fire department partners with us. So we call it the Ventura County Aviation Unit. We don't call it sheriffs or fire. So we do all different kinds of missions. So as a crew chief on the helicopter, we did medevac, we did rescue, we did law enforcement, we chased bad guys, we did marijuana eradication, we did firefighting, we did mountain rescue, ocean rescue. At the time, the Coast Guard wasn't up in Ventura County. Their closest station was down at LAX, and they have a big area of responsibility, so we cover the Channel Islands for them. I've been out at the Channel Islands doing rescues on the island, doing rescues in the water. So it was the most incredible job I ever had, and kind of the motto was always be ready. And so we got to work out on duty like a firefighter. It was crazy. Never did that before. So long story short, I ended up promoting. I ended up running our classification unit in the jail, which is like the detective unit of the jail. I think you guys know this. The jails are like little cities. There's politics in the jail. There's food and clothing and electricity and sewer and all these different things. It's really quite amazing. But there's also crime that occurs in the jail. And so we have a unit called classification, and they investigate all the crimes that occur in the jail. And you'd be surprised, quite a few that occur when you put a bunch of crooks together.
Like on TV.
Like on TV, yeah. And so I ended up getting promoted to captain. I became the assistant chief in Ojai, and then I became the assistant chief in Camarillo for 4 years. And then when Jim Fryhoff won the election in 23, he appointed me to be an assistant sheriff. There are 4 assistant sheriffs. We each run one of the divisions. So I run Detention Services, which is all the jails and the courthouses. There's about 500 employees in my division, so that's kind of my wheelhouse right now. And we have about 1,200 inmates on average per day. Before COVID, it was like 1,700, 1,600, and since then, it's now about 1,200. Now, the reason that happened, why we don't have workers anymore, so like the Honor Farm, is the laws have changed. The people that we used to keep in jail, right, for minor offenses, petty theft, being under the influence of drugs, DUI, those kinds of things, those people don't really stay in jail anymore. What you have is you have a concentration, those 1,200 people have a concentration of really, really bad people. And so even finding, we use inmates, we're supposed to call them incarcerated people, but I'm a creature of habit from long ago. The inmates, like before I would have 100 workers available to help. Workers help in the jail all the time. They empty the trash, they help clean the cells, we have laundry crews, they work in the kitchen. Finding 12 people to work in the kitchen is hard. It's hard to find 12 people that are, that can work in the kitchen. We do 3,600 meals a day, and the cost for that is about $1.86 per meal. So we're super, super cost efficient. I want you to be rest assured your tax dollars are being used wisely and carefully. But that's kind of my career in a nutshell. Like I said, 31 years and still have at least 3 to go. Everybody keeps asking me, are you going to run for sheriff? The answer is no. I've seen behind the curtain. No, thank you. That's a lot. Well, I wanted to kind of give you kind of my background on guns, right? That's why we're here, to do some shooting today. My wife says, I thought you weren't a gun guy. And my answer to that is, I'm not really a gun guy. I don't even know what the definition of gun guy, what does that even mean? But guns are my business. I know guns. I'm required to be proficient with them. I've used them in the field. I've been at a couple shootings, been in a shooting. And so I'm a huge advocate for responsible gun ownership and responsible gun safety and responsible gun use, right? The sheriff is too. I can tell you that we give out CCWs like candy to people who qualify. We love having a professional or proficient, responsible armed citizenry. I think that's a wonderful thing for our society. But I joined the SWAT team in '99-ish, and back then we had, we had different teams. We had like an entry team, an arrest rescue team, a perimeter team, sniper team, that kind of thing. And we shot old Vietnam M16s. That's what we had, right? They were super reliable. They were nails. They shot great, but it's just old equipment. In about 2002-ish, 2003, we actually got Galils. You guys know what Galils are, right? We switched to Galils, and they were chambered in .223. They were super short barreled, and I can tell you, when you shot those things at night, it was amazing, because we did not shoot short barrel ammo, we shot regular ammo, and so the flame coming out the end of that thing was like 3-4 feet long. It was amazing. And they were loud. The Galil is the loudest gun I've ever shot. It was extremely loud. We used Peltors, which are our hearing protection back then, and even with the Peltors on, it was super loud, and you could feel the muzzle blast. We would do tandem shooting where there's 2 of us and you're shooting, you're both shooting one over the shoulder of the other. So the muzzle's, like right here. And you could just feel the boom, 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 the concussion of that. But I learned how to shoot, right? I became super proficient with our firearms, the handgun, with the Galil, with our sniper rifles, which was the Model 700. We did things that became really practical. Shooting on the move, right? Shooting moving forward, shooting moving backwards, those kinds of things. Ultimately, when I was in my shooting, it was shooting on the move. And what I can tell you is the muscle memory that you build while you're here on the range plays out in real life if you ever have to use it in real life. That practice doesn't make perfect, but it does make permanent. So it may not be perfect, your movement or your shooting, but it will be very, very good. And so any idea, what we were told this a long time ago, how many times do you have to do something over and over and over for it to become muscle memory?
10,000 times.
10,000. Okay, I was told 300. That was just us. But and when I say muscle memory, When I say muscle memory, I mean when you're in an, and I'm talking about self-defense primarily, when you're in a situation where you get an adrenaline dump, right? You ever had the warm feeling right before you get in a fight? Maybe you haven't. Maybe I just said too much. Right? The adrenaline dumps, you get all warm, you start feeling it. Well, you get that feeling when you're about to defend yourself. When that happens, you have this automatic response that's going on, and a lot of times people get tunnel vision, and it's very difficult to actually control your movements and your words and your actions when you're under this really high stressful situation. The training counters that. Training is like stress inoculation, right? So I can tell you from experience that when that happens, your body does what it's been trained to do. And so you respond, practice like you play, right? That's what they say. And so when I was in my shooting, I thought I said, I'll tell you this, your brain plays tricks on you too. You're doing things without having to think about it. Your response, the draw from the holster, coming up on target, front sight, all those things happen without even thinking about it. And so I just applaud you for being here today and practicing and being available. I remember saying to the investigators who came and investigated my shooting, I was telling the guy, stop, sheriff's office, let me see your hands, all these different things. At the time I had a digital recorder going because I was interviewing a witness. I was a detective when it happened. Did I say any of those things? I never said any of those things.
You heard it.
Huh?
You heard it.
In my brain was saying it, but my brain was thinking it, but my mouth wasn't saying it. What I said was stop. I said stop 23 times. That's the only thing I could think. But that's also that's poor training. Actually, I have to be honest with you, right? When you train, you're not just training your muscles. You also want to train your brain to communicate. And that's important for family members. If you're in a situation where you're defending your home and you have family members in the home and you're engaging a suspect or somebody that's trying to harm your family, you want to be able to communicate to those people at the same time that you're engaging the suspect and give instruction, right? And that's one of the things that we've dramatically changed with the sheriff's office is we train not just muscle memory on drawing from the holster and coming up on target and hitting your target. We talk about communication and not allowing that tunnel vision to happen. So, enough said about that. Yeah, it's important. It's really important. So my gun fanatic, what my wife says, you're not a gun guy, but I love to hunt. And so I'll just tell you now, I don't have a lot of firearms, like personally own firearms, because the sheriff's office gives me anything I want. So I have, a bunch of guns from the sheriff's office, but I love to hunt. And so my wife can't stand it. She's not a big fan of wild game, but I eat it, so whatever. And I hunt the things that I eat. I don't hunt just to kill stuff. I hunt because I enjoy it. So I kind of got into hunting a while ago, and I learned really my education for the range and what you guys are all doing today started probably about 10 years ago. I met a friend, his name's Chad, and he was into hand loading. I don't know if you guys load your own ammunition or you hand load it all. And the art of shooting and hand loading really became apparent to me. Getting, and I'm talking specifically rifles, but getting your rifle tuned to the ammo that you shoot is really something special. When you figure out what grain, what powder that you want to shoot through, what caliber, and then tuning that rifle in to be able to shoot something at 700, 800 yards, 1,000 yards is, it's a pretty neat feeling. I never shot any wild game at that distance, but being on the range, it's really interesting. Everything comes into play, not just the barrel weight or the weight of the bullet, right? But like I said, the type of powder you're shooting, the length of the barrel, the thickness of the barrel, the heat of the barrel. So your cold shot's different than your follow shot. Those kinds of things, I just really got into it, and I just really enjoy it. There's not a lot of hunting in Southern California, I'll be honest with you, unless you're hunting bad guys. There's a lot of them around. So. But I do take my son hunting. That's one of the things that we do together. He's 21 now, but we started hunting together when he was 8, and So the first deer he ever shot was 7 miles from the truck. It was a long day. I was very proud of him for a very short period of time. But the reward of him, of harvesting the animal and then field dressing it and then packing it out with a smile on our faces, even though we had to hike 14 miles, was something I'll never forget. I was gonna talk about, and when I talked to Felix, he's like, "Can you talk about open carry?" And it's all being litigated still, and people are talking about open carry. Can you open carry in California? They passed this law, blah, blah, blah. Well, the answer is not really yet. I think there's a stay or an injunction in place right now until everything's litigated and finished through the process. But my personal opinion is that I think it's better to conceal carry than to open carry. That would be my personal opinion. There's no reason to lead the conversation with showing your cards ahead of time. And so I would encourage you, if you're going to carry and carry concealed, which is what I think you should do, that you practice and train in that manner. So not just standing on the range and just shooting at a piece of paper, right? You want to have an empty gun. You want to draw from that holster over and over and over, or from under your clothes or off your ankle, or however you do that. You want to do that over and over, be very proficient. I remember in the academy, it was 4 steps, right? Step 1 was this. So I'm left-handed, so sorry, left-handed.
We knew.
But it was your right hand comes up, right? Because you're ready to come up like this. It was 1. 2 was breaking the snap on our holster. We don't have snaps anymore, but it was 2. 3 was gripping the gun, and then 4 was coming up on target. And we did it 1,000 times, right? Probably 10,000 times, like you said. And you could do it without even thinking about it. And so if you're going to conceal carry, I recommend you do the same thing. No matter how you carry it, whether it's on your ankle, your back, your front, whatever you want to do, that you practice how you play. Don't just stand on the range and shoot a bunch of paper. Don't just stand stationary, right? If you can, practice moving, practice sidestepping. Do those things. It'll make you a better shooter. It'll make you a better defender of yourself and your family, and more proficient. Your rounds on target are what matters. So it doesn't matter how many rounds you shoot, it matters how many times you hit, right? In my shooting, I shot 5 times. I only hit him once. So it was, it worked. He stopped, but. So that's kind of my story and kind of some of the things I thought I wanted to talk about this morning. And any questions? I'll just open up the questions. Yes, ma'am.
When you say that we should train to communicate with our family, how do you recommend we do that to break that barrier?
So you're going to think I'm crazy, but shooting with other people on the range and talking while you're shooting is actually a good way to practice communication while you're shooting, right? If you're standing next to somebody and you're shooting and you're talking, that just builds in muscle memory to be able to communicate. It's easy on the range because you don't have adrenaline going on, you don't have this tunnel vision, you don't have the stress of somebody trying to hurt you or harm you or hurt somebody that you care about. But that's about all you can do, because recreating that stress, like for example, at the sheriff's office we have what's called a force option simulator. So we have our gun belts on and we go into a room and it has screens all the way around, and they put us in scenarios where you have to give instruction and, shoot, don't shoot, those kind of things. Normal citizen doesn't get that kind of training, but just being on the range and shooting and talking at the same time is helpful. Yeah.
We can definitely do that.
Yes, sir.
Is there any way to get, if you live in Los Angeles, a temporary residence in Ventura County?
We would prefer permanent residence. You could just move. We prefer permanent. You could just move to Ventura County. There is a bill going through right now. I think they're modifying it, but it's a reciprocity bill where if you get a CCW in California or Ventura County, that it's good anywhere in the nation. I'm not sure exactly where that is yet. I know it's still in the process. But yes, sir.
I came in a little bit late, so you may have covered this, but what is like the best in-class way to apply and secure your CCW in, I would like to say LA County, but if you want to speak to
So
Ventura County.
I only know Ventura County's process. It's online. You can go online and you can apply online. There's a fee for it, and then you just got to get your background done. I think the law is 120 days, so it has to be done within 120 days.
Okay.
It used to be backlogged.
Resident.
And you do have to be a resident of Ventura County, yeah.
And what's
So
the complete turnaround time for the process?
120,
Start to finish,
120 days.
the whole thing? is
That's the
done?
law, yeah. Now, there's a caveat in that. You have training that you have to complete. So the sheriff's office has 120 days to complete the application, issue the CCW, or not issue the CCW. But then you also have an obligation to take the class, right? And so, yeah.
Understood. There is something online that describes in LA County how they put your entire request on hold in like a standby, so it doesn't count down to 120, and then they activate that when they finally process through your submission.
I don't know about that. I can tell you in Ventura County that our interpretation of the law is that when you apply, we have 120 days to complete it. So, yeah. Yes, sir.
I have my actual appointment with LAPD 16 months.
Oh, you do?
16 for concealed carry.
Oh, you do?
Now year 2 and 6 months.
And then put you on standby.
2 years, 6 months.
Holy mackerel.
It's much faster.
Yes.
It is.
Well, I'm going to say it might be now, but
So,
it started 2
I can tell you in Ventura County, when the law passed, we were backlogged, right? It was taking like 10 months. And so we actually hired extra background investigators or CCW investigators to catch up. And the trick was catching up with the old backlog, getting that old backlog down to 120 days, but also now complying with 120 days for the new applicants. Because I couldn't put the new applicants at the back of the log. They were 2 separate categories. Yeah, it was tricky. So you had a question, sir?
In addition to the sheriffs in Ventura, there's local law enforcement and military, a lot of different things going on.
Yes, sir.
What are some of the gems that you've run across as a sheriff now for as many years as you've been in Ventura that the visitor might want to go to?
In Ventura County?
Yeah.
A gem. Shooting or just anything?
Life. Yeah.
I mean, boy, that's.
I'm sorry.
It was, are there any gems in Ventura County, places I would go and recommend that you visit, right? Well, I mean, I like Aviation a lot. I would go to Camarillo Airport, and there's a lot of...
That's where Steve McQueen flew.
McQueen is out of Santa Paula.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
Yeah. So Camarillo has a bunch of old aircraft. They have the commemorative Air Force there, so you can like P-51s, Spitfires, B-25s. I mean, some pretty incredible aircraft there. If you've ever been to the Camarillo Air Show, it's quite incredible. But I like the outdoors too, so I love the mountains. I would go to Pine Mountain. I would go up to Lockwood Valley. I love the Sespe, going up good enough to the top to Doe Flats. I mean, there's some places in Ventura County that you just can't imagine how beautiful it is. Casitas is beautiful, yeah.
I want to interrupt.
Yes?
So Shane is going to be here, right? You're not leaving
Not leaving.
this moment, right?
Yeah.
So we just want to get going. We need to do the security brief, and if you came while Shane was talking, please stop by, let me know, Keith, and I saw some other people that came. And so we're moving to the private questions.
Sure. One more question, and then yes, sir.
So if you have a CCW from LAPD and you come to Ventura County,
Yeah.
what happens?
Nothing. You're good.
The license covers you?
Yeah, if it's in California. So taking that.
Anywhere in California?
Yes. Yeah. If you go to like Oregon, some states you'd have to research each individual state. Some states do honor that, but most do not. And they're trying to, this is the whole bill they're trying
I'm just
to.
about the counties right now.
Yeah, the counties, in California, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, last one?
Yeah, one more quick question to follow up on that. So I'm a Ventura resident.
Yep.
If I get my CCW in Ventura and then move to LA.
Yep.
I have a certain amount of time that I have to turn my Ventura permit in.
I'm not sure. I think you have to renew in LA, but I think, is it 30 days? Okay, yeah. I know that your renewing would have to occur in the county where you live, for sure. Sir, last one?
Lost.
If I may, for the clarifications.
Yeah.
Okay. First, yes, if you move and your address changes, Jeff Fishman, CW instructor.
There you go.
If you move, you're required to inform the department that issued your CCW that you have moved. You have 60 days, is my understanding, to make that declaration, but it takes longer than 60 days to be renewed, to be initially offered the CCW.
Yeah. But it's kind of a fictitious scenario anyway, because who would move from Ventura County to LA County? Thank you, everybody.